My name is Michael Ojok. I am project coordinator for Astra Gulu, equally a co-founder for Astra Gulu. Astra Gulu is a community-based organization based in Gulu district, northern Uganda. We work with street-connected children and young people here in Gulu. Astra Gulu started around April 2017. We started to give audience to street-connected children in Gulu because at the time a lot of young people were roaming the streets and they are continually blamed by people for all sorts of insecurities that happen within Gulu. So as a group of young people, we wanted to take a different approach to give audience one, but also to understand from those children themselves why they are on the street, why they're living their life on the streets, do they have homes, why they have decided to run away from home, and how can we support them to, live the kind of life that they're living. Because at the time there were a lot of mob justice, people were being beaten at night, but also security operatives were clamping down a lot on them, and there were so many hotspots within Gulu. So we started meeting from Alobo Limited. We did that for about a year, and we moved on to other places. Eventually we settled at Elephanta Commons, where our operation now is based. Astra Gulu works on the philosophy that it's critical to support young people who are vulnerable and disadvantaged, who don't know the way, instead of blaming them without evidence, without knowing why they are in the state that they are in. And we have done that consistently since 2017. Our work right now has advanced. We are doing skilling for, again, the people that we work with. We started this skilling program as a result of a lot of survey and study and a lot of mistakes that we made along our journey. In the beginning, when we meet a new kid on the street of Gulu, we would interest them into going back home so that they can live with their parents. And we would reach out to their families and facilitate a process where they go back and start living at home. But at some point, we started noticing that a lot of the young people whom we have reintegrated home would end back on the street. So we asked ourselves, but we also deliberately decided to ask them why they're back on the street. So a lot of them, again, revealed to us that whereas it was a good plan and decision for them to go back home, but the situation they found at home that led them to come and start living on the street hasn't changed. Knowing the background of northern Uganda, having gone through a 2-decade-long insurgency in the hands of the Lord's Resistance Army, there is poverty that is here, but also our young people do not enjoy the same privileges like other people in the other regions. So sometimes back, those who came from captivity, who didn't know where to go when the relative peace came back to northern Uganda, decided to live on the streets of Gulu, and some of those people got their own families. You may recall the days of Teo Corner and Baghdad. So a lot of the young people who are living there as a result of the war did not go back to their homes. Most of them settled in Gulu and started, giving birth. And some of those children are actually still living on the street now. So we have a generation that do not know where they come from or where their families are, because again, some of these people who gave birth just decided to leave their children to fend on their own, and they moved on to look for their lives. But also there are some young people who come from well-to-do families who are living on the streets of Gulu, and that has to do with the squabbles in the home, not feeling loved, but also others are on the street simply because they are rebellious, they don't want to stay at home. There's a young man whom we returned to Ata. That young boy, it was the mother taking care of him, but when the mother passed on, his maternal side of the family started disturbing him that a boy child is supposed to grow up with the father. But this boy, when he goes to the father's home, from there the father had remarried and is living with a stepmother. So the stepmother only has girls as her children. So she saw this boy as someone who has come to fight for inheritance for our girls. So the boy told us that he felt trapped in the middle. He could not go to the mother's family because from there they're chasing him to go and live with the father. But from the father, the stepmother is not treating him well because the father loves him and all that, but the father is barely at home. So when he's at home with the stepmother, the treatment that is given to him is not nice. So he decided to come to the street. We took him back home, but the same thing he said happened. They told him to, go and live with the father. And when we were speaking with this uncle, the uncle had no idea the kind of troubles the boy was going through from the other family. So this boy is back on the street. So there are so many issues as to why reintegration is very difficult. There are some families you go back to and you see a very dysfunctional family headed by an elder who has no way whatsoever to fend for this child. So we decided to build a skilled program whereby if we train someone and by the time that person decides to go back home or even simply reintegrate into the community, then they reintegrate with the skill set that they have, and that way they are able to find work which they can do. So we started our skills program during the lockdown, where we were running a temporary shelter for street children in Gulu. We trained about 34 street children, street youth registered, but 22 of them successfully finished the skills program, where we did training in tailoring and garment cutting. We did training in carpentry and joinery, as well as bricklaying and concrete practice. And right now, as I speak, we are establishing a training center where we work, and some of the trainees whom we trained in the first group are the ones who are building that training center. But also there are construction sites within Gulu and carpentry workshops that have taken some of those trainees, and right now they are undergoing apprenticeship with those places. Currently we have taken on another lot.
Let's get there.
Okay, so what Astra Gulu, the area that we work in is one, now the skilling.
All right, we'll go.
So as Astra Gulu right now, we do a lot of street work and street outreaches in non-hotspots where street kids are. The intention behind the street work is to, one, build trust with the street kids in our network, but also to attract them to come to our space, because we want to, this space is meant for training as the major activity that happens, but through the training we do counseling. We also offer medical help. There are clinics within Gulu which we are in a partnership with, so we do a medical treatment, but also it's from this space where we get to know who is who in details. What is your name? Where do you come from? Are your parents alive? Are you willing to, tell us where your home is? Can we establish contact with them? And when that revelation is done, then we get in contact with the family and start a process of letting them know who we are, what we do, and the intention for us reaching out to them. And that is what eventually leads to reunification at the end of the day. As Astra Gulu, we also do a lot of advocacy work, because in Gulu, if someone calls you an Ago, there's a lot of stigma and segregation that comes with being identified with that name. So our advocacy is geared towards challenging that stereotype, because on the street there are very young children, but also there are young people who have grown up on the street. Now they are no longer children, but they still depend on the street for their survival. And it's undeniable that a lot of these street connected people are involved in criminal activities to survive for themselves and take care of people who depend on them. But also so many of them are just involved in a daily hustle of collecting plastic bottles, scraps, and selling them for a livelihood. So So as Astra Gulu, our areas of operation, like I mentioned before, includes skills training, hands-on skills training. We do family reintegration. We do psychotherapy and counseling, and as well as medical treatment and advocacy. This is geared towards enabling a young person who is connected to the street to become a productive member of society, whether they decide to reintegrate back home, which we've seen quite a number of them do, or whether they want to continue living on their own, but earning a decent living for themselves. So those are the key areas of work that Astra Gulu is doing right now. We are looking into venturing into establishing a halfway home, because again, one of the major challenges that young people on the street face is on accommodation and feeding. So even with the skills training that we are doing, a lot of them don't have a stable place where they come from, because this night you're sleeping on a veranda, the other day you're sleeping in another ghetto, and those ghettos are raided often by police and law enforcement and even community members. So we want to establish a halfway home, which when it's fully operational, will be able to provide a temporary space for someone who is committed to become a better person, get some skills, but also just relax. So they can stay in the halfway home for between 6 months to a period of a year. Within that period, we expect someone to have learned some skill. We expect that person to have gotten good counsel, but also been in a setting where they are cared for, so they start looking at life differently from what they are used to. So we have already acquired property, land for that. Now we are going into the programming, then we'll start mobilizing resources to establish that space. So that would act as our home and offices as well. So it's a plan that we have in the next 5 years, besides what we are already doing.
Okay. What are the typical challenges that these street children have, but the one that you deal with them?
So the challenges that we deal with on a day-to-day with the streets is, one, drug addiction. A lot of the young people who are on the street resort to doing drugs as a way to survive. From what we have got on good grounds, that sometimes you are hungry, you have issues that you're dealing with, but when you do drugs, you forget about the anger that you're facing at that time, but also the issue that you have that would otherwise cause you a lot of thoughts. Somehow when you're high, those issues are gone temporarily. The other issue that we deal with is stigma from the community, because some of these kids have homes that they come from, so they live on the street during daytime, but at night they are in their homes, and we have parents who know that their children are connected to the street and live their lives on the street. So there is no proper care from homes. The other challenge is law enforcement. There are a lot of running battles that kids on the street and in ghettos have with law enforcement. So this, in a way, ends up in a situation whereby the remand home is filled up by street kids. So police and other law enforcement agencies continually arrest kids on the street, even without any evidence whatsoever. So there's a circle of imprisonment that the kids are involved in, and that keeps on going on and on and on. But that is better. It's worst when you're got and beaten by mob, which has also happened several times. And places where these kids congregate, of course, knowing their lifestyle and all that. So it's very difficult for kids who are connected to the streets to feel cared for in a different way, besides people seeing them as those who cause chaos and trouble. Even in the initiatives that we ran previously, because some of them actually do steal to eat, they sell and all that. So if you are a well-intentioned person and you decide to care for a kid who is on the street, until you reach a point where they feel they can totally depend on you, there would be no love between the two of you. They'll continually be stealing your things, so you need to have a very tough skin in order for you to work with the street kids. But also there's a lot of expectation, because previously so many people, they say, have come to meet with them, take their pictures, record their videos, do research on them, but no one bothers to come back. So now anyone who comes to work with them, they look at this person like someone who has come to steal. So they have created a situation where if you come, you must give them what you give them, because they don't know where the study or the research you're doing will end up, or what that would mean for you. So it takes a lot of time to build trust. There's that ring. There's that ring of protection that most of them have developed around them, and that translates into any well-meaning work that someone wants to do with them. But also we have seen leaders who have come up to be very critical and rally community members to beat and to chase away kids. Because if one of them rents a place, so many, because they are connected to the street and their colleagues whom they see, there's a tendency of attracting their colleagues to come and live with them. So there are landlords who do not want that, because they think that, one, if people in authority find out that you're renting to a group of more than 2, you would be in trouble. But also by simply opening your home to be rented, those kids who come can easily steal from you. So it's very difficult for a street kid, even if they decide to rent a house and live the right life, for them to be in a space. When we finished the first set of training and we were trying to find work for those we have trained, so many people, because we want to be open as much as possible so that we don't get into trouble later, so we explain the background of who is coming to get work. And many people will blatantly tell you that if this person has a background of living on the street, we are not going to employ them. But now that only seeks to further the problem, because if you cannot employ someone who has some skills and they want to earn a decent living, that person would try to look for alternatives to survive. But we are happy that some people have decided to give an opportunity to anyone who wanted to get a training. So it's better to give that opportunity and they spoil it, instead of saying this one is a street a street youth, I'm not going to employ this one totally. So those are some of the challenges that we have faced and we continue to face. So we take each day as it comes, and hopefully by being as open and caring and trusting, then that can change the situation and attract more. So the other challenge that we face on the street has to do with girls, young girls who are depending on the street for their livelihood as well. It's very easy to see boys who are on the street, but for the girls it's a bit challenging, because during daytime they are doing legal work, they are working in hotels, they are washing dishes, washing clothes, but at night they are involved in prostitution. And there are people who deliberately take advantage of these girls to prostitute them. So what we are doing now is to also develop another project that focuses on the situation of girls on the street. So in the skill training that we are doing now, they are a part of the training, but we are looking at a long-term project that would see us and other CSOs within Gulu support them or do a bit of advocacy to enable us to change their situation. Also, as a result of the life that they are involved in, some of them have started developing families of their own. You find a male street youth and a female street youth living together as man and wife, and as a result of that, it results into giving birth to children who cannot be cared for within a loving family setting, and that child would not get the early childhood upbringing that they deserve, and definitely you can tell for yourself where that child would would end up later on in future if they don't get the care and attention that they should get when they're just coming up. So as Astra Gulu, our philosophy has been to care, one, but also to understand and work with the duty bearers, the young boys who are connected to the street, take care of their interest. So in the subsequent trainings that we shall be doing, we want to offer training, skills training in an area where somebody wants to get skilled in. So the pilot that we have been doing now, because as a CBO, our resource base is limited, we started piloting with 3 areas of training. But the other areas that we have discovered that they would like skilling in is 1, mechanics, 2, hairdressing. We want to do metal fabrication in addition to what we already have, and we would work at setting up workshops, which we would start before the end of this year by establishing a carpentry workshop for those who have been doing carpentry and joinery, as well as a tailoring workshop. So we would set up a cooperative society which would be led and spearheaded by those who have already been trained, and within that cooperative society they would take care of the workshop. So what they will be getting from the workshop, 1, would remain to run the workshop, but also those who will be involved in working in the workshops would share proceeds. So on the one end, when you work and you get money, a certain percentage would remain to take care of running cost for the workshop. Another percentage would go towards their own sustainability, their livelihood, their rent, and all that. And through that cooperative society, we'll continue getting more specialized training for those who shall have committed to work. Whereas those who shall have gotten work outside, we'll continue following them up and making sure they're monitored, they're being treated well, and they're doing well within the community. So we are reaching out to a number of employers to make sure that whatever we do is deliberate, and we sign MOUs with them, so that once we have finished the introductory training from here, they continue getting more training from their employers, first as an apprentice, but then now later on as an employee, so that even if they want to set up work for themselves, that is easier. We will also in future hope to focus a bit more on the families where these people come from, especially the ones that are broken. So we have started reaching out to other NGOs with the capacity to do that, so that we collaborate with them, because again, looking at where we are, where we have come from, we hope it's only through collaboration that we can be able to do a lot of the things that we are doing now. So we are reaching out to those who can do that, so that whereas we focus on skilling the child, rehabilitating them and taking them back home, by the time they go back home, they are going back to a different home, a home they can be proud to belong to, where they will not run away. So those are some of the things that Astra Gulu is doing now, and we hope to do in future, to see that young people, no matter the situation they have gone through, no matter the life they are living now, or how the society sees them, as long as within themselves they see themselves better and they know that they can be supported to change their life, then we want to be that bridge for that young person to change the way they see themselves, and eventually change their lifestyles. And when they decide to start bringing families of their own, the families they are bringing, they can care for that family in a different way, as opposed to how they are living their lives right now.
Okay. How do people? How can people come in to help if they wish to?
So, from the time we started working as Astra Gulu, it has been by the goodwill of people, friends, colleagues, organizations, that we have been able to do what we do. So we encourage anyone anyone who would like to support us to reach out. On our website there's a donation platform which is connected to PayPal, but also our account details is on our website. So anyone who would like to support us is welcome and free, but also anyone who can reach out directly to us. We don't look at support in terms of monetary contribution only, because right now, okay, our work has largely depended on the goodwill from well-wishers, and for us as an organization we don't look at support in terms of finances only, though finances play a key role because we have running costs, HR, and coordination that needs to be taken care of financially, but also in terms of services and infrastructures that anyone can offer to advance our work. Like where we are right now, the office that we use, we don't pay any money for it. The training center that we have, we don't pay any money for it. That's a contribution from a partner of ours. We have another partner that already worked at the remand home. There's a clinic at the remand home, but because the remand home gets a lot of street connected children whom they see inside there every now and then, so they have come to offer a medical support to our trainees and the people we work with. We have Vivo International that is currently offering counseling and psychotherapy. So a lot of people have come to support us. So if there is anyone out there who has a service or an infrastructure or even the financial resources that they feel they can contribute to further our work, we are more than appreciative for those things. We have advocacy work that needs to be done, so there's a lot of radio airtime that we need. We need to put our messages across. We need to do community dialogues. We do outreaches in schools, and communities to tell them about life on the street and how together we can change the story of northern Uganda and Gulu, to be specific. So we look at support in all these dimensions, and all it takes is for someone to just reach out and say, you guys, you know what, you're doing a good job. How can we come in to support? Or here is a space that you can use for your work, or here is some money that you can use to take care of some cost, because right now in the training that we are doing we need to buy materials almost weekly. We need to get clothes for the tailoring class, we need to get timber, we need to get bricks and sand for the other class, and all that takes money. And the trainees who are here, when they are with us, they need to know that I'm going to get fed, so they don't have to worry about where their meal is coming from. So here, as of now, we are doing breakfast. We are doing lunch rather, but we are seeing how we can introduce breakfast so that trainees who are coming come early, and then when they leave the training venue, they are not looking at where my supper is going to come from, where do I get breakfast from, so that they don't end up doing any other illegal activity, and they end up in prison, so which as a result would see them miss some days of training. So we do feeding, but we also need training materials. We need to set up the space that we are setting up. So we do appreciate and welcome any kind of support, any amount of money that someone would give to us. Right now we have a fundraiser which is ongoing on the Giving Way platform. So anybody who goes on Giving Way and just put in #Gulu, they would see a platform, a fundraising platform which is open, and that is what we would use for setting up the workshop. So we already have some people who have donated, but that is still open for any more donations that would still come. So anyone who would like to give to us, please feel free to reach out or find us on any online platform, our website, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and they'll find details about us and how to give. Okay. Anya Ojok Michael, ate co-founder me Astra Gulu, but ichawa ni ateka coordinating project ma Astra Gulu timu. So project ma wateka timu ne chani tie waluoni goody to gang. Project yani neno ni lutiano awobe vulu awobe wakanyira weng ma kwogi tie idiguri madong I gulu kany kiluongi ni ago menene wakwanyo gi idiguri wek go dok gang ni twer ber iyo ariyo achiel ngara achiel twero moko tame ni anabi dok gang kamana kiye mala nyore na mamana ki babana nyo mamana madir nyo nera nyo ngati iye me dok kabero chingi unyo ngara achiel chetwa tame ni ando adit so amiro bedo on my own wek ngo apang ot mo aberi iye but Heimpa project ene me agikne menene ngo ngara achiel vulu nyola tien mabere diguri oyubo kwone oyabo kwo mati ma and funding for en kene man no chene mo mengo chene mo me beru kene but in a better way. So project tika running Astra Gulu chalo CBO uyape mwagali bario kapara bero makaram Astra Gulu yape tamwai kare no tie menerningo wabed ka poka kidana mokene magi kwo kienwa piane kai neno kare no insecurity tie matek tung kumalo kany gono tok dane diwo yuano bak magine futika metewa kunyoni ti areas mokene makai wore kunyoni ma kuoni pebedo kere karo iber kalek ruba ni in kar ni ning piani story me winyu pe area yoni pe story mabe so kare yoni watamo ni wa yab do gola wa inviting lutieno mango gi interacting ki streets we kwa win ki board gi pingo getika kwo gi di street gang gitie ngomo wer gwa ki gang watwer konyo gi iyo mene wek ngo kwo gi ubed mabe so wayabo kachoke I alobo ma wabe timo kachoke keny pi mwaka chiel kachoke eni wabero wan lurem waluonge wabero warai chana mogo manok chi mogo wawilo nyoga wawilo cham wabero la kachiel chi waboko lok but ma kachoke eni tika time wabero kanyang pero mango lutini workiye ma pero mukene tie ni goch nyo mama pe ki community kakineni ma iruke in a certain way ki associating in kingo ago kakineni ma you smell in a certain way ki associating in ki ago chidong per me kabero tie per me gina chama tie per me yotkom tie kidong mukene be kere gucherwe odiat kakineni itie in a certain way pay no service mo can unfortunately why odiata did be service mo kene makimini kai cher keni pe so chamo kene wachwalo gi wan kumba wachero wan kuma odiat chi no service but now we're getting into partnership with some clinics here and there ma kala ten mo cher show wachi ana kikaber ma kuman no treatment barichani watika kupeki odiara chel ma offering treatment I remand home Gulu may offering free services to other street children in the community as long as gitwer o kamango gitie ye so chalo Astra Gulu wateki areas of work ma watimu me achel and skills training ino kateki adukime survey ma watimu piani kar mo karanga telo tien mo kene ma wadwako gi gang baringe inge dwe achiel dwe ariyo dwe adek iponi gudugo kakoi district chi wapenyo gi pingo gu ki gang chi lok ma wano mo kene waingo gien mer gi moko tam gi medok gang but ngo magi no gang po bero situation magi tamino gibi no gang situation mo loke pe so konya bero gang pe I district that gino kwo be so chama kene gitam weka duke district mo kene gi dok gang gino still a broken family furi kitika da wigi ngarmo matwer ngo caring begin kidmano gitamani don't give it dok gang gino kwo loke chi gitam ni ngo giduko ka kwa district kar me dukchen paju dano maduong gorinyo ki kaber mapapat gubino ka kwa i the town. So jomo kene guber ka kwa i Baghdad madong lwenyo tum jomo kene pego dok gang piani gang mo may twer dok e mabepe i dok gang no ngom ngar mo mayo chimo kene dong guber ka kwa i district and i district eni ma guber kwa yeni mo kene go yabo nywal an lo tien mo ma kenywal ki district dong be giti ka kwa giti ka don district ka kengi so mo kene be penge wa gang me ma mier gi dok ye kong me achil and food giti ka mede kenywal district. So we have this skills program meneno ni kangar mo no skill mo an mo tame me dok gang nyo ka pango ate mo no tiki dir mo me teaching ma en ngo twer ti une kene ngom kene ma watimo me reaching out to communities, schools, ma kachal wachere school, walo kilo tieno. Piene again, as a result of the survey, lutieno maduong maguberi school, mago dropping out of school, schools within Gulu, Gulu Prison Primary School, Gulu Public, Peje, Kasubi, Labor Line, Tiema good dropping out of school and gitika kwa in the street. So we're reaching out to these schools and we talk to them about life on the street and why it's important for them to stay in school and get an education, because that's any opportunity it gi meneno ningo kwogo loke but benengo gibet kingech ngomu kene ma watimo any reintegration kala tien ma uye dok gang. We're reaching out to family mamegi walo kedgi chimeneno ni guye ni latien gi dok kabergang but bene waniang piene chamo kene ka latien mondu wachni anba ana ke gang pitien lok kiten chamo kene ka cher gang inotien lok mo latien no ke gang pat mo kene moguno ubalo jemi magang no kwalo chene nyo kwalo chim gi ke gang chidong ka ke wai in ka chime ni pe dwaro pe bed gang kan chidong rio tami ke gang kidege. So kawa finding out tian lok kitani chi watimu mediation meneni wakla tian money moriyo ke gang kache bal mo beru tinyo kere bal beru pe joma gang guye en udoka beru gang ngomo kene ma watimu ki i district kanye meneno ni ngo counseling utime ma we work with other partners may offering free counseling services, psychotherapy, but also medical services ki joma watiyu kedgi, but largely also watimu street walk ma wa reaching out to ghettos ma wangegi meneno ni walo ki joma tiye dong reach outreaches oni watimu ki lutien mo madon ma good don the street and kunyo nongi don mukene gibero kalwa kumutake washing bay katimu all sorts of odd jobs really gekonyo wa me reaching out to some of these places. So chalo Astra Gulu tamwao mateke tieningo pe wa bed judgmental chalo jomo kene mati community magi judging gitimu mob justice. So we try me kitek wa weng meneno ningo the root causes of life on the street we're finding out. So watimu research bene and it's research egoni konyo wa me reaching out to communities ka wa finding out ni area eni lotieno matie well makiten giaki area eni chi wa focusing our community outreach area eni ka wa neno ni school eni lotieno maromo apanyo piario good dropping out from this school at this level then wachere school eni awalogo kilofanya ki teacher meneno ni go mean opportunity me beru ping kilo tiano me school ene walo kedgi. So one machalo Astra Gulu teachwa opole depending on well wishers ma gibino wa waneno tika timu teach mabe watware konyuni ning wateke services money ene wa offering watware extending botu kere kai neno kere wakaber ma watie ene kama office watie ki kama watete training kimini wamenono. That is a contribution from Elephant Commons. Counseling ma watika timune it's a free service from Vivo International. Medical treatment ma watika building ichani It's a free offer from St. Philip's, their outreach clinic at the remand home. Piani kono kaine an pol kare, lutiano maduong ma gibere district gi ending up in the remand home. And chamu kene gitiono the same faces every now and then. So gutamoni ka the same offer can be offered from outside. So right now we are planning to establish a clinic here at Elefante for our trainees. Pero mukene ma dano ma luteno vulu ma gite district gi facing from the communities. There is a lot of stigma ma kakineno behaving in a certain way, chiki yabu segregating against it, but also law enforcement polkara kimaro rounding up dano kakineno ti area money makiwa area nti hotspot pa go kibieno ki rounding up people anyhow without necessarily finding out ni enoberanga enitika bero gangi nyo tinining dong tega da kilo tiano ma gumogo tam gimeloko kwogi piani kai cher ka pango ot chani mira bet ki national ID and mukene kengi pego registering pi national ID karma registering national ID no fun mukene tiano mukene pay school and mukene ki registering ki school so kado cher kama ki mira national ID no tega da minongo service mo ken ikarme lockdown ni waberu ka operating a temporary shelter pe street kids Gulu. So i shelter earning wa training group achel making group eno ma wa train chie skill earning ngech en ma entikere ni gakere but one ben on our own watika yeleme setting up a workshop, carpentry workshop and a tailoring workshop ma kangaro team training botwa char mer ngeche wa twer bieno ka teach kan and workshop en jomo ber ka tije go ber ka teach under an association ma wa registering it gain. So association then would be run by them. For us, we be in America and activities per association and going on smoothly. So through that association, go very key opportunity. Me achel me nongo chane magitwero ngo sustaining kikwogi, but also me maintaining association ma megi ki workshop yani. So cost mo kene me workshop initially we will take care of them. But car workshop taking off, then gen gimete ki running on their own while we do the monitoring. But also through that workshop, we hope to reach out and take advantage of program pagamenta mukene matie kachalo organization mukene tie mango gitiyu kivulu mago nerne gitwar supporting kowa nyokere chalo youth livelihood program gingongo gini. Then through that workshop, they can take advantage of it. Dong one wa welcoming armo ken mamiro teach kedwa wa ye support in any form kangata miro mini wachane wa jolo but kangaro tamune antique service ma service any twero complementing ngoma watika timune bene wa jolo service only. So gen mangata any twer timune nyomiro tim any Ugone wa chim nyo twero nongo wa online watie Facebook, watie Twitter, watie Instagram, watie website with our account details and any other giving platform. We also have a running page, giving way. Makangata giving way to typing #Gulu buno more details about us and our work and key through those platforms kitwero chako ko tich ma watika timune gin mukene ma watimu meneno ni we're reaching out to communities walo kidano pia ni me achiel lutieno ma waneno gi diguri madonke yergeni ago mukene ki goegi kinero gi chere vuch en lutieno ma aki communities botwa mukene tio megiwa lutieno wa but pe ki mapapat ki tek pa kwa mapapat wero lutieno eni ngo gitika kwa district si ka wajalo gio wanena we mamega mu aki kuma mega chino watika met pero me kinwa mera but ka wa paying some attention waneno ningo wakonyo lutieno kere waichani ka latien mati under your care ka iwero chala nyoro itamo ni in dong teach ti providing for cham school fees ngongo so ko diko duga tian no penge ngo matika time I ngo inge gang chi en jemen kelo pero so watimo outreaches in the community menen wa lo kidano areas ma they are known may hotspots as street children activity watimo dialogues here menen ni ngo dano ulago kuogi ulago kidgi kache chan latini futpe ka ko di guri apenge ngo matime diri ka kata in kuoni ruenyo umero nyola mero nyoma mane twer gwa lutini me providing it gi mabe so kai tamo pingo ma twer ti me anyim wero lutien mati under your care right now yabungo gwa gi yo mapat so but kai ne be latien pala wori piani kar chano one community weng raising Latin community money but kunyoni ngara sel ki do golane but kai tam pingo ma twerte me anyim ki ngoma twerte mbi family ni wero yabunen Latin pa umer nyo Latin pa la mer ki wang mapat kai neno tika going astray wero itwer correcting so watimo advocacy in that area menen ni ko dano ulago ko gi